Hey everyone, happy Monday. It's time for your primetime preview. Last call over here on Wager Talk. We got a great show for you today. The Prez is stepping up first, and then we'll have Sean Alvarez. So make sure you jump in the live chat over here on YouTube. Let these guys know what questions you have for them tonight. Of course, we're talking Monday Night Football. What a game we have on deck. Well, this should have been a game. Jaden Daniels should have been out here for the Washington Commanders, but we know this team is moving in the opposite direction of the Kansas City Chiefs right now, and the spread is sure showing us that. We're seeing 10.5s out there, 11s for the Kansas City Chiefs at home in Arrowhead, which hasn't been a place where they've been strong at covering those spreads. But can they do enough in this game to come out, win this one by double digits? We're going to be jumping into everything here. We got a total sitting right around that 47.5. So it's going to be a great show. You guys open your Odds Logic page so you make sure that you can follow along as we go over all of these lines, all of these props that we're going to be giving you. Shopping for those best lines on Odds Logic is the best way to go. So over on WagerTalk.com, you're going to find the best bets for these guys. Make sure you do head on over there to grab those tons of deals going on right now. But let's start talking some Monday Night Football. We're going to bring the Prez in first.
Well, here I am. Hello, Jo.
Hello.
Excited to be doing this with you. Excited about the J game. I can give out some bets on the J game too.
Ooh, I love that.
And yeah, we got some people coming over. We have dinner starting in 20 minutes, and then it's all about the Jays tonight for my house, at least. Hey, J-Dog, nice to see you, bro.
I love that it's all about the Jays. So let's start off there. Let's talk the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the LA Dodgers first. And then you guys, we will get into that Monday night game. Prez, I know that you were able to attend that last game last Monday. That's why you weren't here. What was the atmosphere like, and how's Toronto feeling going into tonight, the city?
Well, game 7, Seattle, I was there at the game. It was one of the best sporting experiences of my life. It was incredible, the vibe, the atmosphere. I mean, the one great thing about, baseball and football, as opposed to hockey in a large city, is it's not corporate. You go to a hockey arena in a city like Toronto, where it's like the finance capital of Canada and, top 5, 6 finance city in the Western world. It's all corporations, and it ruins the atmosphere seeing the Leafs. But the Blue Jays with 60,000 people in there, whatever it was absolutely spectacular. And as far as the city, I mean, look, we think we're going to win this thing flat out. From a betting perspective, I would not bet the Jays tonight. And I do have a couple of bets that I'm happy to give out. I personally bet Max Scherzer under 4.5 strikeouts. And I also personally bet over 4.5 runs for the LA Dodgers. So I'm trying to find a way to not bet against the Blue Jays, even though I think they're going to lose tonight. I don't want to bet against them. I'm still a fan. So my way to bet against the Blue Jays is to attack it from that perspective. So let's hope that Max Scherzer has a bad night. The Dodgers put up 5 early, and the Blue Jays get 7 late.
Oh, would love to absolutely see that. We know the bats have been hot enough, and I do think Vladdy, George Springer, Kurt, you've got the list just going on and on for the Jays and the ability of their bats out there. So love where you're going with those. If Scherzer can get out of that first inning, he might just have a chance there against Dodgers, but doubtful. I'd look at the Yurfie. He gives up those runs.
I do a show every day with Joe Ranieri, Art to Caesar, called The Best Betting Show Ever. I love it. It's my favorite show I've ever done in my life. But we spoke about that today, and man, I'm worried Max doesn't make it out of the first inning. Like, it's one of those scenarios where you picked up the hottest woman in the bar on Friday night. Don't go out on Saturday night. Nothing good could happen.
Nothing at all. You're not going to find another one, right?
Like, Max Scherzer pitched a game that nobody expected, including himself, walk off into the sunset.
Absolutely. I just want to give a big shout out to everyone here in the chat. Seeing J-Dog dropping a lot of comments. Cody in here, big sis Lisa. J-Dog took your advice on the under with Ottawa and Boston. So nice bets there. But let's get into tonight's Monday Night Football game. That's what everyone is here for. The Kansas City Chiefs at home laying 10.5, 11 points, Prez. The Washington Commanders, they're headed in the opposite direction. Tough schedule in front of them. Dan Quinn's defense just isn't looking like Dan Quinn's defense, giving up those passing yards. They're able to run the ball strong. Will that be enough in this matchup tonight?
Well, enough to win, no. Enough to cover, maybe. But let me start by speaking at a very high level. So we do have a -10 at BetMGM. Okay. So there is a 10 out there. Now, what I want to say to you guys is this. If you go and you look, 79% of the money written across almost every major sports book in North America and on the islands is on Kansas City. That's 79%. 74% of the tickets written across all of those top sports books are on the Kansas City Chiefs. Yet the line dropped from -12.5, where it was last night, to -11.5 when we woke up this morning, to -11 earlier on, to -10.5 a couple of hours ago, to -10 now. What is that telling us? What message are the bookmakers sending when 79% of the money is on Kansas City, yet the line keeps moving against the money? What is that message? And that message to me is some of the most talented bettors on the planet are betting the Washington Redskins. Now, conversely, those very same talented bettors bet New Orleans yesterday, bet Cleveland yesterday. You know, those same talented bettors bet Carolina yesterday, but they also bet the Jets. Mm-hmm. They also bet Miami. So to me, I'm not going to fly in the face of those kind of statistics. I'm not going to sit there and say, I know better than the greatest bettors on the planet. I want to be one of the greatest bettors on the planet. I think I am one of the best bettors on the planet. I'm not going to walk into that. So I am not interested in Kansas City in this game at all. I would much prefer everybody take Washington. With that said, what I'd like to see is Kansas City go up quick. And I think that will happen. I think you're going to see a scenario where Kansas City, whoever gets the ball first, if it's Washington, they don't score. Kansas City gets the ball, scores at 7-0. The line is -17.5, give or take. Come back on Washington in that spot. So I cannot bet the Chiefs simply because the bookmakers are asking us to bet the Chiefs. They are begging us to bet the Chiefs. I'm not going to take the bait. I can't bet Washington because I can't get the best number anymore. And so I'm going to wait it out. As far as the total goes in this game, Joe, look, I like the over. I think, we sit there and we say, well, how's Washington going to get there? So, well, let's first take a look at Kansas City. Kansas City put up 31 on Las Vegas, and that's a phony 31. They shut it down. It could have been 51. They put up 30 on Detroit. They also, that 30 in Detroit, it could have been worse as well. If memory serves, Mahomes threw an interception in the end zone in that game. Could have been more. They put up 28 on Jacksonville, 37 on Baltimore. So where are we going with that? Kansas City is going to get us our 30, 31 points. Mm-hmm. Can Washington score? And you look at this Washington team, man, their two highest scoring games are with Mariota behind center. Now, I'm not going to suggest that that's a regular occurrence, but Mariota can throw the ball. He can run the ball, and they have weapons, albeit some of their weapons are injured. But this Washington team put up 22 on Dallas, 24 on Chicago, 27 on the Chargers, 27 on Atlanta, 41 on the same Las Vegas team that Kansas City played. They put up 18 as their lowest point total of the year against Green Bay. But in their last 5 games, it was 22 points or more. I got to believe that Washington is going to find a way to 18 21 points. I think we're going to see a type of a 31-21 type of a game. That's right around the -10 that exists now, but it's 3 points higher than the total.
Yeah.
My bet on this game would be on the total. And I do have a couple of prop bets. My original plan was just to steal Sean Alvarez's prop bets.
I love that plan.
And then he comes on with absolutely nothing to say. But then I thought, you know what? I love Sean Alvarez. I even wrote a song about Sean Alvarez, so I'm not going to steal.
Great song for anyone who hasn't heard it, Prez.
No, I can't sing that.
Okay.
You got to log into End Zone Live every Sunday if you want to hear the Sean Alvarez song. It's spectacular. Okay. Xavier Worthy, anytime touchdown, +155. What I really like about that bet is that he can get you the touchdown on the ground as well. So you have a scenario where you got a wide receiver. He's going to be taking those sort of, that play that they run where he shovels forward or laterals behind. Xavier Worthy is usually the guy that's on the receiving end. So at +155, I do like Xavier Worthy. I also like Pat Mahomes under 2.5 touchdowns. Now, that's a juicy play, -150. But, man, 3 passing touchdowns, many games, teams don't score 3 touchdowns at all. And if Kansas City scores 4 touchdowns and a field goal, that's 31 points. That's a high-scoring game. And yet, 3 of those 4 would have to be throwing touchdowns. I don't buy it. I think that we're going to see a couple of running touchdowns. So I like that prop. And I also like Marcus Mariota under 29.5 rushing yards. Now, I do think he's going to rush the ball, but this Kansas City defense is mean. Yeah. And I don't think he's going to be able to get the yardage. And on top of that, Washington is going to have to air this ball out. They're going to have to keep pace with the Kansas City Chiefs. So there you go. Those are the 3 sort of props that I'm looking at. And I do like the over, but I cannot get to the window on the side.
Yeah, I don't blame you on the side there. J-Dog was coming in with Mariota for his 200 passing yards. What are your thoughts on that? I know you've got his passing completions. It's going to be tight to that number, right?
Well, I mean, we would expect everything to be tight to the number the bookmakers put out. It ultimately depends how fast Kansas City can go up in that game. Maybe you take Kansas City. If you think Kansas City is going to score a lot of points, Marcus Mariota is going to have no choice. As far as the first-time touchdown, I hate those bets. One of Joey. Oh, there you go. Me and Tom are running the board at the same time. McLaurin, first TD scorer, +2,000. Yeah, a lot of money there. You want to throw $5 on that, make 100, do it. Other than that, I can't get to I just can't make those bets. They're just not effective. But, Joe, I want to leave you with this. If you take a look at the NFL card coming up for week 9, I think we're in, you have a scenario where you've got Green Bay at -12.5. And you've got the LA Chargers at -10.
I saw that.
If you want to bet a side tonight, take a 3-team 10-point teaser. Take Kansas City down. Take Green Bay at home against Carolina down. And take the Chargers down. Now, I purposely left the Rams out of the equation because they don't cover that 3. So the Rams are -13.5. That takes you to -3.5. That is not an effective teaser in the long run. So if you want to do the correct type of a teaser, you're crossing 10, 7, and 3, but you're not crossing 10 with the Chargers, but it's close enough. There you go. Kansas City, LA, and Green Bay. That's a 3-team 10-pointer. I love that bet, Joe, and I made that bet myself.
I love it. I looked at these lines this morning. I couldn't believe the Chargers were that big. Bringing them down, bringing all of those lines down, I think is a great way to go. So did you get good odds bringing them all down in that teaser press?
Yeah, it's -120 at some books and -110 at another, but it's never more than -120 on a 3-team 10-point teaser. Cody Holloway, what about SGT, Prez? What am I missing here? Who's SGT?
Stumped me as well. Mariota over the 19.5 completions, the question is as well.
Same problem again
Yeah.
there. I probably prefer that bet than the yardage bet. So if I had to make a Mariota over bet, I would probably take over 19.5 completions more so than over on the 200 and I think 20, whatever it was, yards, because I don't see Mariota airing the. I think we're going to see a lot of dinking and dunking.
Yeah. I think maybe same game teaser, SGT, same game teaser.
Oh,
Brad.
same game teaser.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done one in my life.
Neither have
Bookie
I.
AG has a -8 in this game.
Okay.
Look at that. Wow, all over the map. I've never done a same game teaser in my life. So I mean, if I had to do a same game teaser, firstly, teasing totals is a horrible plan. Absolute losing scenario. But sure, man, you want to. You get 6-point teaser, 10 and a, 9.5, 8.5, 7.5, 6.5, 5.5. No, no.
Don't do it. Stay off it. Prez, you've got tons going on this week. You've been crushing it in the NFL. You got to tell people that record and what you've got going on this weekend for sale.
Yeah, my NFL has been really, really good this year. I had 2 losing weeks, the week before and the week before that. I think it was 6 and 7. I think we just passed week 8. I'm old, Joe. It all blends to me. But on a whole, I'm just under 60% on all my plays. I've been releasing, first time in my life, I've been releasing money line parlays. I'm 8 and 2 on the year on these money line parlays. Yesterday, I had a 3-teamer plus money and it cashed. Yes, square as could be. New England, Philadelphia, and Buffalo. But I also did tell everyone to bet 1% on the ATS side of that too, and it cashed.
Nicely done.
And then in my ATS bets, I'm 7 and 1 on the season. So yeah, it's been really, really good. NBA has been good. Baseball's been insane. 12 and 3 in my last 15. My problem right now, Joe, is in hockey. And hockey is what I've built my reputation around. I have started the hockey season 9 wins and 21 losses. That's about as bad as it gets. But I know I will turn that around. Like I have 7 more months of hockey betting ahead of me. So although I would have loved to have started off well, I will for sure fix my hockey.
Oh, you absolutely will. It's a long season, Prez. I have full faith in you. You're going to turn things around. But you've got the best betting show ever that is every day during the week. You've got End Zone. What else have you got? Where else?
Yeah, I do the NFL presidential address, which is 20 minutes. I go down every single game on the board. We tape that show on Tuesday. I've crushed it. This is my 20th year doing that show. That show, the NFL presidential address, predates WagerTalk. I used to do that show on terrestrial radio.
Wow.
So I do that every Tuesday. And then, guys, if you've never seen the best betting show ever, take 2 minutes and just head over to WagerTalk and just try it. Like try the first 2 minutes because I think it's the best show I've ever been a part of. It's certainly the best show I've ever hosted. And it's a laugh, Joe. I mean, between Ranieri and me, Power comes on Monday, Art to Caesar, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Somebody put a comment in the comment section of today's show that said, now that is how people should talk sports betting. And I don't think I could say it any better than that. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Prez. Enjoy the game tonight. It's going to be a big game on the Diamonds.
So I heard you got Sean Alvarez. Sean Alvarez. You have to do the movement.
Okay.
It works all together. Anyway, lucky you. Sean is killing it in the NFL. He's doing better than me, crushing the NFL. I want you to know he is crushing the NFL.
Okay. Well, Prez, thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy tonight's games.
Lots of love, everyone. Go Blue Jays.
Let's go, Blue Jays. That was the Prez. You guys make sure you go on over and grab the best of his picks on WagerTalk.com. Check out all of those shows that he has going on. But he said it. We got Sean Alvarez coming on next. He's going to talk some props in this game. Make sure you do drop those questions in the live chat over here. And make sure you're following along on Odds Logic, shopping for those best lines as we do so. But let's bring in Sean Alvarez to the show. Happy Monday, Sean.
Happy Monday. Glad to be here. We missed you yesterday at End Zone Live, but I know that we'll see you again in a very shortly on a Sunday or soon.
I will be around next Sunday. I was actually out with a couple of friends yesterday and just didn't think their environment was the best to come on live.
Yeah.
We'll say it that way.
If you were watching the show, Prez was saying she should come on anyway. So
yeah, I did see that message probably a couple of seconds too late, right when you guys were wrapping up. But look at the love coming in for you here. Everyone loving Sean Alvarez on the show. I know End Zone went great yesterday. Monday Night Football, Sean, this is going to be quite the game out there. Well, at least it was supposed to be with Jaden Daniels, but Marcus Mariota, do you think he can step up to the plate? Hard schedule right now for the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, if Marcus Mariota was named the starting quarterback for my favorite NFL team before the season, I would definitely be a little bit irritated and frustrated with the year plan. But, you know, we've seen Marcus Mariota. I think he's played better as a backup than he's played when he has a starting role. So I do like Marcus Mariota in this spot. I think that he's got weapons around him that he can kind of lean on with, you know, Samuel and McLaurin healthy at receiver, but then he's got a big tight end in Zach Ertz that can find room in short routes that he can find in, you know, early in dropbacks and try to stay away from that Chiefs pressure that Prez was talking about, because this Chiefs defense is feisty. They can get after the quarterback. So I do expect short, quick passes, maybe not try and stretch the field or stretch the ball downfield as much, but he still has big receivers, quick receivers that can get behind that secondary. So I can see a big game for Mariota, or at least a big game, you know, in terms of what we would expect from Marcus Mariota.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to some of the questions we had before. People were talking about Marcus Mariota for his passing props and his completions. Any thoughts on how he should do today if you were looking at him to be able to throw over 200 yards? I believe the number is like right around that 198.5 or over the 19.5 completions. Do either of those give you the ability to bet them, or would you just stay off of them?
The over passing yards of over 200, I completely agree with you when you said I feel like it's going to kind of hit right around that number. So that one scares me. I wouldn't play the under or the over, but I do like the over completions, 19.5. If you agree with the way that I think the Washington Commanders coaching staff is going to call this game and try to get the ball out of Marcus Mariota's hands quickly, you know, he may not rack up a lot of yards, but he could easily get over that 19.5 if they do lean on that short, quick passing.
Yeah, and we would think that they would need to in this game. Chris Jones is going to be coming for Marcus Mariota in that, and that is a scary man to be running at you. That is for sure. I think personally, if I was looking at Marcus Mariota and I wanted to play his passing props, I'd probably look at his longest pass. At one point, I do think he'll have time to really throw that ball nice and deep, and he'll be in the situation where he has to get it deep in this game, especially late if the Chiefs get up. But let's talk some of the props that you're liking out there. I know you've got one circled for Patrick Mahomes, the man of the hour. Can Patrick Mahomes really step up and deliver for his team tonight?
Yeah, what I really like about Patrick Mahomes is, you know, he's not, and I'm not talking bad about these quarterbacks, but he's not, Williams for the Bears, or, you know, a lot of these other scrambling type quarterbacks. When the pocket breaks down, you know, they're running for their life. They're trying to extend the play. What I really like about Patrick Mahomes is when he's going through his progressions and he's going from his 1 to his 2 receiver, he sees these defensive secondaries, and if the corners and safeties have their back to him, he just takes off and runs. You know, he's going to take his 10 yards, he's going to take his 15 yards, and he's going to move the chains. He's going to, you know, live to play another down, not necessarily force it downfield. And then if you look at their offensive line, they're out Josh Simmons. They're also out Trey Smith, it looks like, going into tonight. So they're going to be playing with a new left tackle, a new right guard. I'm not necessarily saying that the Commanders are going to be all over Patrick Mahomes, but I do think that that's going to have an issue with the running game. And so I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to, A, drop back a little bit more, but then B, utilize his legs and try to, run for those first downs and make sure that the chains continue to move and, you know, extend those drives. So I like the over 25 rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes. Over at DraftKings, it's at plus 113.
I love it. Okay, we got a question here about the odds of Taylor Swift showing up at the game. What do you weigh into this? We know it was tight ends day yesterday, but you do have Travis Kelce. He's a tight end. Can he show up after we've seen, yesterday, those tight ends feasting?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Taylor Swift showing up to the game, I don't know her schedule. I have no idea about anything like that. So if she shows up, great. If not, I'm sure she was busy with that. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it kind of in years past with the Chiefs, but also with Travis Kelce kind of getting off to a slow start to start the season. And with Rashee Rice coming back from suspension, I think it just opens up the field for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And Travis Kelce's such a big target. It's a mismatch for a linebacker. It's a mismatch for a safety. And with the health and depth of this Kansas City receiving core, I do think that Travis Kelce can have a big day. I stayed away as far as props goes just because Mahomes has so many people to spread the ball around to right now.
He absolutely does. And you look at that last game with Mahomes getting the ball to Travis Kelce. I thought I was going to feast. I fired him up to 50 plus receiving yards and 70 plus. He hit the 50 plus, Sean, but it was on one big play. He had 44 and then a couple little plays. And then Rice got the rest of the work out there on the field. So you got to be careful because there is so many weapons out there for Patrick Mahomes, like you said, to get the ball to. But what about when we look here at the Washington Commanders side of things? We know Dan Quinn's defense has given up some yards. So on that offensive side for the Kansas City Chiefs, I do expect them to have some nice plays down to those weapons for Mahomes. But where are you looking for the Commanders to be able to make some money for us here?
Yeah, so I kind of talked about it a little bit when going over how I think Marcus Mariota can perform tonight. And that's a real safety valve in his big tight end in Zach Ertz. He's averaging only 32.7 yards per game, but he is stepping up a little bit more. And like you had mentioned, when the Chiefs are going up against a tough tight end, they do have trouble, limiting those opportunities where we saw Sam Laporta catch 6 catches for 55 yards just a couple weeks ago. So I thought Zach Ertz had a big game last week. I think with McLaurin and Samuel on the outside, they can really just stretch the field and stretch the secondary downfield and open up those opportunities for Ertz. And, very similar to Kelce, I think he really creates a mismatch for whoever you want to cover him. So I'm going to go over 40 receiving yards for Zach Ertz. And I think we're getting a really healthy price at plus 142 over at DraftKings.
Yeah, that's a really nice price over on DraftKings there. We do have a comment here, more so than a question. KC should lead and on a heavy run in the second half and chew up that clock. What are your thoughts on that? Because if Washington stays competitive in the first half, they obviously can't lean on that. But do you see a recipe where we could maybe get the backdoor cover here for Washington with KC trying to run the clock in the second half? Because if we don't see a solid run game, it could be a live betting opportunity going into the second for Pacheco or Hunt.
Yeah, and I really liked what Prez said earlier as far as, if KC gets the ball first, they go down and score a touchdown. Now, all of a sudden, we can get the Commanders at plus 17 and a half. So I definitely like that kind of thought process going into this game. And as far as the running game for the Chiefs goes, I touched on it with 2 missing linemen going into the game, and they're 2 big linemen for the Chiefs. And we saw it 2 weeks ago with yours and mine Chargers when they were basically knocking on high school's doors looking for left tackles to play. And we saw Justin Herbert throw the ball 55 times. I believe they ran the ball only 19 times. So the offensive line really sets the tone for a running game. So, the Kareem Hunt, the Pacheco over yards, I'm just not sold that they can get over, I believe it was over 50, over 25, and they're really juiced to the under rather than the over. And then the other thing with the Chiefs is they don't necessarily need a running game like a lot of, balanced offenses that we see across the NFL. Patrick Mahomes can do it in quick passes, quick screens. They can do, designed runs with Patrick Mahomes. So, leaning on any of these Chiefs running backs to go over their total, for me personally, I'm staying away from those. If anything, I'd probably play in the under.
Okay, I don't blame you there at all. I've got to ask you some anytime touchdown leans. I know no official free bets here for those anytime touchdowns, but we got to talk them because everyone wants to get on some of those touchdown props. I want to ask you first about the Washington Commanders side of things. The odds-on favorite for the Commanders to get in the end zone is Bill Crosby Merritt out here. He's plus 175 for the anytime tutty. We know the strength he has out there on the ground. I do think he could be a possibility for the Commanders. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a possibility, and they're, most likely going to feed him the rock at least probably 3 times if they don't get it each time when they're down by the goal line. But the issue is when, I'm not necessarily seeing a lot of maybe red zone opportunities for this Commanders. So if I'm going anytime touchdown, I'm probably looking at more like Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, see if they can break the coverage. And like you said, the over, longest touchdown or pass for Mariota, that's how it's going to happen with broken coverage with Deebo Samuel or McLaurin on the outside. Or even, like I said, Zach Ertz is a safety valve, and he's definitely a target in the end zone. Like I stay away from that rushing anytime touchdown just because I think that their opportunities are going to be really limited as far as red zone opportunities tonight.
Absolutely. So if you guys are looking at Zach Ertz, he's coming in at plus 270 for that anytime tutty. Deebo Samuel's at plus 260. Terry McLaurin coming in at plus 310. And if you think Marcus Mariota can run one in himself, that is coming in at plus 300. But on the KC side of things here, we do have Travis Kelce as the odds-on favorite at minus 105. Unable to get that touchdown last week for people. Rice did feast last week. He's plus 100 for the anytime touchdown. Pacheco at plus 155, and then you've got Worthy at plus 170. So knock in the value here with those players until you go down to Brown and Kareem Hunt, both coming in at plus 320. Anyone you'd sprinkle a little bit on, Sean?
I mean, I feel like Rashee Rice is just getting way overplayed with his 2 touchdown performance. Keep in mind that was also against the Raiders. So, the Commanders definitely have a better defense, especially in the secondary. If I'm getting weird here, and I really don't want to keep harping on the same thing, but I do think that Patrick Mahomes is going to have a big game, especially, if my thought process is that their running game really isn't going to get rolling like they expect. So I'm going to look at that plus 360 on Patrick Mahomes. Let's get him on a naked bootleg, or like I said, maybe a 10-yard rushing touchdown when everybody turns their back. Again, I don't mean to harp on the same player, but I just don't see much value. I'm not playing, an even money anytime touchdown bet.
You just can. If you think Patrick Mahomes can run one in himself, you guys, it's plus 360. And with your rushing pop, I think it would be a nice way to play that. Now, people call in Mahomes, hot mic Mahomes in the chat. Lisa saying, I hope he keeps it clean. That was all acting last week, right? That was planned that his mic was hot when he yelled over at his coach. It never effing works. That was on purpose, wasn't it, Sean?
I mean, with the Chiefs, it seems like everything's on purpose. I mean, I don't read too much into those things, especially when it seems like a kind of a one-off type of thing. So I'm not, like I said, I don't read too much into it, and I like that idea. It probably was planned.
Oh, it absolutely was. It looked that way for sure. And then he had them fooled, right? Because then they just went straight back to it. But Sean, I know you've got a ton up for a sale. You're big into the horses. So what can people expect if they're going over to grab your picks?
Yeah, I mean, it's for horse players and people that like horse racing. It's our biggest weekend of the year. It's our World Series Super Bowl, if you will. We've got Friday and Saturday. It's the Breeders' Cup over at Del Mar. I've got a package up with full card selections as well as suggested wagers with pick 3s, pick 5s, exactas. If you get in right now, you can get both days for $30. That price is going to go up to $40 at midnight on Wednesday, and then the day of each day is $25. So it's a drastic savings if you get in now, and then you'll be updated. I will have my first round of selections up Wednesday night, and then they'll be updated as information comes out through scratches on Friday and Saturday. So definitely get in now, get that $20 savings.
Absolutely. Guys, head on over to WagerTalk.com to grab those. Just look for Sean Alvarez's name over there. Sean, all the best in all your bets. Are there any shows other than End Zone we can catch you on this week?
That's all that's on my schedule right now, but I'm open to fill any voids needed.
Okay, sweet. Thank you so much. All the best in the Breeders' Cup as well as tonight in Monday Night Football. Keep crushing it out there, Sean.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys, that was Sean Alvarez. Make sure you head on over to WagerTalk.com to get that Breeder Cup special. You want to jump on it before that price does go up. Now, American Return asked about Mariota for the touchdown. We kind of touched on that with Sean. I do think he has a good possibility of running it in himself. We know that pressure is going to come from the Kansas City Chiefs defensively, and it's going to be hard for Mariota to get that ball passed off. And I do think it is worth a little bit of a sprinkle, but Patrick Mahomes on the other side at plus 360. How can you say no with his ability, with his legs? So we had the guys in. The Prez came in with all of his bets. Sean Alvarez with his. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on this game before we head out on the way. But before I do so, make sure you do hit that like button over here on YouTube. Drop in the comments what you're liking tonight. You guys remember bragging rights are on the line. If you got anyone for that first tutty of the game, I want to hear it so I can get in on it as well. I don't have a first touchdown prop as of yet, so let me know who you think is going to get in the end zone. But I'm kind of looking at this one, and I know there was someone out there that said that they're thinking Washington's going to be competitive in the first half, and then KC will pull away in the second. I'm looking at KC like the Prez to go out big in the first. You can look at the first quarter and the first half bets, and that's what I did. I looked at the first half, laying the 6.5 with the Kansas City Chiefs. I expect them to come out to make a statement straight out of the gate, put those points on the board. But at that point, I'm going to be coming back in on the Washington Commanders. I love the live betting situation with the overreaction. And we know that Marcus Mariota is a competent quarterback, and everyone really underrating the Washington Commanders right now, not giving them a chance. They know this line and they're going to bring it. Dan Quinn is a great coach. We know this is a defensive-minded head coach out there that is giving up those yards through the air, which isn't like Dan Quinn's defense. So I do expect this defense to really start clicking in that second half, but I also expect some big passes out of Mariota for him to be able to go over those longest completions and get things done. Now, when I'm looking here, I'm seeing you guys with Pacheco for that first touchdown. I like it. Pacheco's a great way to go. Let me know the odds that you're getting on him for the first touchdown, but I'm looking here for Patrick Mahomes to have those connections with Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce gets that anytime tutty. I'm with Prez with Xavier Worthy. I'm pretty sure he gets in the end zone as well. But how can we deny Rashid Rice coming back into this lineup, getting those 2 tutties in that last game? I expect him to be another main weapon out here. And with what Dan Quinn's defense has been giving up through the air, I do think looking at the wide receiver role to get in the end zone is a great way to go. Now, on the other side for the Washington Commanders here, I do think Bill Crosby Merritt is going to get in the end zone. Again, you're not getting great value on him. He's the odds-on favorite for the Washington Commanders, but I don't hate you guys throwing out Mariota and Patrick Mahomes both to get in the end zone. I do think this is a higher scoring game. I like it to the over 47.5, and that's because I do have the faith in the Washington Commanders to at least get some points in that second half. I think KC dominates the first half, and then the Washington Commanders get their way back in and probably get the backdoor cover on that original number of 10.5 or 11. So I'm looking at that, you guys. That's what I'm liking out there, seeing all of your comments in there. Mariota, BetBoy Tony saying Mariota over 225 alt passing yards is plus 165. I like that. And you got to look at Ertz. It was tight end day yesterday, but I think these tight ends deserve the attention still tonight with that day happening yesterday. So I like where you're going there. And then Pacheco for the anytime touchdown, and everyone checking out right now saying goodbye. So you guys, excuse me. Sorry, my voice just went for a second. I think this is going to be a better game than we expect. Laying all of those points with the Kansas City Chiefs is always a hard position to be in when they're at home here in Arrowhead. I think Washington brings it, but not in the first half. So first half bets for me. But you guys, thank you so much for joining me here for the primetime preview. We do run at 7 p.m. Eastern on Monday and Thursday nights before the games kick off. So make sure you join me here on Thursday night. Got another great show loading for you guys. And then Kelly and Ariel take you for Last Call on the weekends at 11 a.m. Eastern. I will be filling in for Kelly this Saturday. We'll be talking college football, UFC. So make sure you do join us there. But until then, you guys, I'll see you on Thursday. Best of luck in all your bets. Hit that like button, and we will see you here Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Bye, you guys.